JustTheNews.com. This is interesting. Remember all these district attorneys and all these interesting people that were winning their elections to be, again, district attorney, attorney general, whatever it is, of the state, of the county. And they're all backed by George Soros, including the one behind Jesse Smollett, the Mrs. Fox lady, whatever her first name was, who, again, got busted, kind of, we're not going to charge them. Okay, I'll recruit. No, I'm not going to, Well, here's another one. Missouri case that topped GOP governor, Republican governor, boomerangs. Oh, boomerang. Isn't that like what Q says, the year of the boomerang? Boomerangs on Soros-backed prosecutor. Another one? St. Louis circuit attorney faces grand jury probe, chief investigator indicted in echoes of Trump-Russia collusion reversal in Washington. Very similar. Kimberly Gardner made history in 2016, roaring to an election victory as St. Louis City's first African-American chief prosecutor on a campaign funded heavily by the liberal megadonor George Soros. 4 years later, she finds herself under investigation and her chief investigator already indicted for a prosecution gone bad, one that forced Missouri's Republican governor to resign in what some now believe may have been a political attack. Gardner, a Democrat and the city's circuit attorney, was forced in 2018 to withdraw her indictment, accusing Governor Eric Greitens of felony invasion of privacy for allegedly taking a picture of his scantily clad girlfriend and threatening to release it if she talked about their affair. Gardner's office dropped the charge after admitting she did not have proof of the photo or its transmission. Investigators now allege that Greitens' prosecution, which forced the governor to resign less than 2 years into his tenure, was built on lies that included perjury and hiding exculpatory evidence. Oh, God, where have I heard that before? Evidence that would have helped demonstrate the governor's innocence, court documents show. Most significantly, testimony transcripts and court records obtained by Just the News show the woman Gardner built her case around, beautician Katrina Sneed, testified she was asked unsolicited by Gardner's office to come forward as a witness, and that she was actually reluctant to accuse the governor because the entire story of a photo on his mobile phone may have been a dream. In a dream, my love, you will find my heart. And, quote, and at any point were you in the basement with Eric Greitens at his home? Did you see what you believe to be a phone? Sneed was asked during an April 6, 2018 pre-trial deposition with defense lawyers. Sneed answered, "So not that's like a very vivid memory, which is the reason why I haven't talked about it, because I don't know if it's because I'm remembering it through a dream or I'm not sure, but yes, I feel like I saw it after that happened, but I haven't spoken about it because of that." The magnitude of alleged holes and potential misconduct in the case that Gardner brought against Greitens have been laid bare in subsequent court filings, which include a 7-count felony indictment against Gardner's chief investigator in the case, William Tissaby. The new evidence has not only engulfed her office in controversy, it has also drawn comparisons in Washington to the Russia collusion allegations against President Trump that were leaked and investigated only to be debunked after a nearly 3-year drama. And like the governor, he's already gone. And now later on, oh, now let's look at the evidence. Oh, it was a whole lie. It was an effing fraud. Quote, Miss Gardner tampered with the integrity of the grand jury and our judicial system by feloniously causing an indictment of a man for whom she did not have the evidence, said Dwight Warren, who worked for 40 years as a prosecutor in the St. Louis Circuit Attorney's Office before he was fired by Gardner in 2017. If the system is to command the respect of its citizens, they need to trust their prosecutor to be fair. Warren turned the tables on his former boss after his firing, writing an explosive op-ed in spring 2018 that declared there was no basis for Gardner's indictment of Greitens, the governor. His prediction proved true within a few short months. Gardner, to date, has not been charged with wrongdoing and has steadfastly denied she engaged in any misconduct, even as the city police and a special prosecutor have charged her former investigator in the case. The ex-FBI agent, Tissaby, has pleaded innocent. His lawyer, Jermaine Wooten, did not immediately return a call seeking comment, but has said previously his client is absolutely 100% innocent and a victim of discrimination because he's black. Gardner has been ordered to appear before the grand jury and is listed as a potential witness in Tissaby's criminal trial later this month. Facts disclosed in the Tissaby indictment suggest Gardner herself was complicit in his wrongdoing by staying silent while Tissaby allegedly lied. For instance, the special prosecutors alleged that when Tissaby falsely denied during a March 2018 pretrial deposition in the Greitens case that there was a functioning videotape of the Snead interview, Gardner did not correct him, even as she questioned him. Quote, "There is no recording of this interview?" Tissaby was asked by Gardner. "None whatsoever," he answered. Tissaby's indictment declared that Gardner's office had videotaped the sessions, and she failed to disclose the fact for several months. Prosecutors say a functioning videotape was found in Gardner's office, and the camera had not malfunctioned, as had been claimed, according to the Tissaby indictment. Isn't it amazing? Every time we want to see something, damaging evidence, we had security cameras, Jeffrey Epstein's cell, we had 2 of them pointing in that, both of them failed. Hey, the Oklahoma Center building, 1993 or 95? 95, I think. Timothy McVeigh, he brought a truck up there with explosives in the back. Oh, we have, that's right, a building across the way had security cameras faced that way. Can we see those? No, we don't have them anymore. What happened? Well, we were changing the tapes right when he pulled up, so you don't really see that footage of the truck there. What about after the explosion went off? We were changing the tapes again. Yep. How about the guard shack on 9/11, 2001, Pentagon? You see a little sliver of something come on the screen, this terribly, like 3 frames a second, ancient technology that the Pentagon has, can't capture this thing if something smashes into the building. Only recently, and I've mentioned this before, only recently, through Freedom of Information Act and a lawsuit, we want the original videos and stuff of that. We got a new one from the same guard shack. And it appears the original had been doctored, where only a little sliver of something sticks out and then there's an explosion. This one now shows a significant amount of something sticking out, then the explosion. And the significant amount of something standing out is so close to the ground and does not look like an airplane. Looks like a missile. Oh, video evidence. We don't have it. We don't have it. We don't have it. Doesn't exist, Your Honor. It does exist. The Greitens case isn't the only controversy impacting Gardner. What? You don't say. A George Soros appointee, basically. More than 70 prosecutors in her office have been fired or forced to quit, and dozens of St. Louis police officers have been banned from testifying in court. She also was fined more than $60,000 for campaign finance violations. Hey, just the cost of doing business. After signing a plea deal, Gardner issued a statement blaming clerical errors for the campaign violations and accusing a Republican political operative for filing the complaint against her. Gardner claims she is a victim of her efforts to clean up what she says is a dirty and racist law enforcement system in St. Louis going so far as to file a lawsuit against the city earlier this year under a law created to fight the Ku Klux Klan back in 1871. Gardner declined to comment through her media spokesperson, who forwarded a copy of her prior statement about the civil rights litigation. Quote, Gardner was elected in 2016 on a promise to redress the scourge of historical inequality and rebuild trust in the criminal justice system among communities of color. Gardner's complaint reads, unfortunately, entrenched interests in St. Louis, including defendants, have mobilized to thwart these efforts through a broad campaign of collusive conduct. No matter which side prevails in the coming months, the investigators who went after Greeton are clearly now being the investigated. What does QAnon tell us? Excuse me? The hunters become the hunted. This is another sponsored by George Soros person with extreme power in our judicial system, found to be an effing criminal like the other ones. No matter which side prevails in the coming months, the investigators who went after Greeton are clearly now being investigated, much like the FBI and DOJ officials who opened the Trump-Russia collusion probe during the 2016 election find themselves in Washington under Attorney General William Barr. Greeton says he believes he was forced to give up his governorship for allegations that were unsubstantiated at best and outright false at worst. While he admits an extramarital affair with Snead, he has always denied Gardner's charge. The roller coaster experience has given Greeton's thoughts of running again to reclaim the governorship, though those plans are on hold. A former Navy SEAL, Greeton's nonetheless has been able to claim vindication recently. I'm going to go a step further. This is my opinion only. The CIA, like the FBI, remember George Papadopoulos? He was in the Trump campaign. He said they were sending hot-ass women, gorgeous, to go get with him, if you know what I'm saying. And he refused them. I don't know if he was married or had a girlfriend or engaged, whatever. I don't know the situation, but he said, no thanks. Which is a hell of a thing for a man to do when a hot-ass woman is all over you, willing to do whatever you want to do. They were setting him up. That woman, that hottie, was an asset. FBI, deep state asset. Do you think by chance Mr. Greeton's girlfriend, who knowingly spoke to Miss Gardner and said, oh yeah, I think there could have been a cell phone down there, maybe he filmed me, maybe he they didn't have any evidence whatsoever. Do you think she was sent his way, she's flirting with him, oh governor, and he took the bait, extramarital affair, which it isn't right, doesn't mean it's right. But even so, that doesn't necessarily mean you're all of a sudden a bad governor, you're not going to do what's right for the people. It doesn't mean that. I'm just going to Google this. How many people have an extramarital affair? Trying to find this stat. I'm just curious. 44%. This is from 2007. Oh, NBC News, Many cheat for a thrill, more stay true for love. Survey takers guess that twice as many people are having extramarital affairs as really are, estimating that 44% of married men and 36% of married women are unfaithful. The reality is not as rampant as we think, with 28% of married men and 18% of married women. Just curious on the stat. I'm just curious. Stats. Doesn't mean anything here. The roller coaster experience has given Greeton's thoughts of running again to do that. Earlier this month, the Missouri Ethics Committee cleared Greeton's of charges lodged against him during the height of the scandal that he had violated campaign finance laws. So he hadn't, they tried to get him with that too. Nope, wrong. Cleared. The commission found no evidence of any wrongdoing on the part of Eric Greeton's, but fined his campaign for 2 reporting violations. So I'm now going to reread you that as if it was the Trump thing. Okay? The commission found no evidence of any wrongdoing on the part of Eric Greitens. But that does not exonerate him. He still might have done it. Quote, "It's good to have been exonerated. I'm glad that the truth is coming out," he told Just the News, comparing his plight to that of Trump during the Russian collusion hoax. "All Americans need to know that the left and deep state insiders engaged in a criminal effort to overturn the 2016 election." Yeah, and they want all the GOP senators, state senators, governor, get them out. Because again, the governor of a state is essentially the president of the state. That's the governor. So we have the United States president, then we have the state presidents, if you will, governors. Second best thing to take control of. Because again, as governor, guess who? You get to appoint all kinds of people in key positions. Ooh. Just like our governor was able to fire the coward of Broward County, Sheriff Israel. Get out of here, sucker. Once he took office. So, another case here. And if this is happening, this is about the third time now I've noticed this. How many more George Soros funded people, district attorneys, all that stuff, are in office breaking the law to overthrow elections, like the governor? They did this. They overthrew a duly elected governor, just like they tried to overthrow a duly elected president. They're trying to do it on a state level, and they're being caught. Countries have a better chance of winning a war against another country than they do of being taken out from the inside out. Because once the law enforcement system, which includes judges, police officers, attorney generals, district attorneys, prosecutors, once those people start getting taken over by deep state criminals, you can't fight the system anymore. Because you're asking that system to find justice. Hey, I was wronged. And they're the ones that wronged you. Who are you going to go to above them? There is nobody. It's them. A standing army can't take that down. Unless the President of the United States declares martial law and goes after these effing criminals. And I'll be honest, I would be all for that. Take care.